Well, it's a delight to have Dinesh D'Souza in the service today. Dinesh has been with us several times before. As I told you, I became a fan of his when I read What's So Great About Christianity. I would take note of the fact that he is a layperson and yet has become a very stout defender of Christianity. And I respect that. I was watching CNN a while back, and they were covering a topic of life after death, which was his last year's book, and Life After Death, the Evidence. And he was on with two other people, but there was a doctor and a skeptic, and Dinesh representing the Christian point of view. And I thought it was interesting that it was a layperson representing Christianity and not a minister. And I felt good about that because I like to see the lay people stepping up, as you saw last Sunday, and having an impact, and Dinesh is certainly that. He has been a very prolific author and a very influential author, but he also debates publicly with the atheists, and I really enjoy that. So whenever a new atheist debate comes out, I have to sit and listen to it, and the Q&A. By the way, we'll do Q&A tonight in that service, but he's such a quick wit. And so well read and all that it's just fun to see him take the atheists apart. But it takes a rare gift, I think, to argue in a secular way as he does. He has just recently taken on the presidency. In fact, just a couple of months ago, last month actually, took on the presidency of the King's College in New York City. Meets in the Empire State Building. And it is committed to taking Christian young people and putting them out into the larger community to represent the gospel. And I think, Dinesh D'Souza is himself an illustration of that, because he is definitely out there mixing it up, thinking about things and representing the Christian faith. I have referred to him as the C.S. Lewis of our time. Taking the Christian faith and articulating it to a secular audience. And his newest book that I told you first out here, that's just awesome. I have to say that again. First here at Cedar Park, not yet available in the bookstores. Not yet available on Glen Beck and other places like that, but right here only. But anyway, I got the book Friday, I was reading it, almost done with it, and I was struck by the fact that it really is about worldview. And by the way, he's going to speak for chapel in the morning for our students because I want them to hear the message that he has. In his book, he tells one of the stories of the president in the private school that he went to in Hawaii, and I noticed the books that were on the list. All of them were books that viewed America as the aggressor nation, not the nation fulfilling God's destiny in this part of the world, but rather as a robber nation that comes in and seizes things from the Indians and commits injustices at home and abroad. And I thought, that's a worldview that's being shaped in the life of the student there. And it really brought home to me why we emphasize children's ministries, why we emphasize youth ministry, that a child, and every age group certainly, but a child needs to know the ways of the Lord, and not just in some vague way, but what that actually means and how that gets applied in the world. And that's worldview. And our superintendent, Dr. Clint Behrens, wrote his doctoral dissertation on how students acquire a Christian worldview. And he said a Christian school that teaches it is important. And then being involved in a church youth group and having a strong family that teaches the same values. When you have consistency of the home, the church, and the school, then you have the highest percentage of people who end up with a Christian worldview. And we're deeply committed to that. And I appreciate Dinesh in the work that he does publicly. I have to say that I think his book already is stirring up a story, and they haven't even read it yet. I mean, this is what you call a prejudiced mind. I'm against it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm against it. I know that. You know, that is what you call bias. And you're seeing that in full flower in America today. But enough of me. And you didn't come to hear me talk today. I'm pretty sure of that. But anyway, it's a delight to welcome back to this pulpit Dinesh D'Souza.
Thank you very much. I'm always thrilled and delighted to be back at Cedar Park. Pastor Joe mentioned my appearance last year on CNN to discuss, on the Larry King Show, to discuss life after death. It was a little bit of an odd experience. I showed up in the studio and I looked to the right of me and there was the holistic guru Sanjay Gupta. And then I looked on the left-hand side of me, and it was the CNN medical correspondent, the holistic guru Deepak Chopra. And then on the other side, the CNN medical correspondent Sanjay Gupta. So it was the show of the three Indians. But I've taken a new job since last year, the presidency of the King's College. Very different career kind of shift for me, but for me a very exciting one for this reason. We have a lot of Christian colleges in America, and by and large the Christian college is a kind of a shelter, a protection from some of the toxic influences of our society and from some of our mainstream institutions. I think one of the problems, however, when you shelter someone from something is you cut them off from it. So by protecting our students, we, in a way, remove them from the orbit of the powerful secular institutions of finance and politics and media and Hollywood that are having such a decisive influence on our culture and our society. So the King's College is a little bit unique in that it's the Christian college in the secular city. It's very deliberately in Manhattan. And the idea is to take bright Christian kids and not shelter them, but equip them to go out into secular society, to be able to defend and articulate their faith, to be confident about it, and to take up influential positions at Merrill Lynch and on Capitol Hill and at CNN and Fox News Channel and write for Investors Business Daily and go to Shanghai and to Mumbai. In other words, to penetrate and bring a Christian orientation to secular society. Now, by the way, that's really not a new model. It was done in the past. I went to Dartmouth, and Dartmouth, like a lot of the Ivy League colleges, I think with the only exception of Cornell, these were founded as Christian institutions, but not just to train for ministry or pastors, but to train Christians to become men of letters and statesmen and entrepreneurs. Dartmouth, for example, was founded to educate and Christianize the Indians. I sometimes wonder how I got there. I think I misread the catalog, you know, the part about the Indians. But that model of the Christian liberal arts college in the secular society, that's become a little faded. So that's what the King's College is seeking to revive, to bring ideas and worldview to bear on society. I like it. I've always been doing that in my own life. I sometimes talk about Christian bilingualism, the ability to speak a Christian language in church, at home, but then on the other hand, being able to address on its own terms secular society, to be able to speak, to articulate our views even to people who don't share our assumptions.